What's up, everybody out there in television land and the internet? Michael Hurdle here from the Michael Hurdle Production Studio, helping you render your imagination when it comes to video production, 3D animation, and visual effects on a small or no budget at all. Check this out right here. Finally got my hands on a GoPro. This is my very first GoPro, and I decided to get the GoPro Hero 7 Black. Now, back in the past, I was never interested in GoPros. I was always a DSLR type of guy, or one of those big production camera type of guys. But when I heard the features that this little tiny thing, this GoPro Hero 7 Black has, it made me interested. I was originally going to buy a Ronin S. That's a gimbal, a stabilizer, and I was going to put the Canon 80D on it so I can have some good stable footage. The only problem with that is that the Canon 80D shoots only in 1080p the max. This bad boy right here shoots in 4K 60 frames a second. That's ridiculous. So this is my first impressions with this GoPro Hero 7 Black, and I got a couple things to tell you guys about this, so you should definitely stay tuned and check it out, because if you're thinking about pulling the trigger to get this GoPro Hero 7 Black, there's a couple things that you may need to know with my first impressions and of course my experience on this camera before you go ahead and buy it. I'll be right back. So with the GoPro Hero 7 Black, let's test out the stability. 1080p, 24 frames a second. One more time. Here we go. How this GoPro Hero 7 Black holds up with my mask on my face and the wind blowing at the same time, to see if you can hear me as I'm talking. Because if that's the case, what I'd rather do now is I'd rather go get a separate audio recording device so I can record my audio separately. So this is basically like a test. Alright, so basically we reached the end of the track that I just did a speed test on. I want to see how the stability test is. You let me know how the stability test is. Coming from someone who has never used a GoPro before, it can be a little bit annoying and intimidating. The way the GoPro is set up is a little strange. When you buy this GoPro Hero 7 Black, it does not come with a micro SD card. You should know that before you purchase it. Here's the thing. Let's talk about the pros and cons real quick. Number one, the battery life. When you shoot 4K 60 frames a second, anything in that high realm where this GoPro has to process a lot, the battery, done. I say I shot 4K 60 frames a second and I kept it on. It stayed on for about 50 minutes before the battery completely died. So you're gonna get about an hour, probably less than an hour, shooting at 4K 60 frames a second. So go ahead and pick up some extra batteries. I went on Amazon and I got me a 3-pack battery with the charger, and it can charge 3 batteries at the same time. So that's how I'm able to switch the batteries and rotate it, because when I have 3 batteries in there, I'll pop one in here, have the other 2 on the charger, and then when this one dies, I can rotate it like that. There are power banks that you can buy, but you may need a special case so you can snap things on and have different hot shoot areas. And then you can actually get a power bank and keep 1 battery in there, and as long as that power bank has enough juice to keep charging that battery, you'll get a longer life with that. I did realize too as well that I had an old 16 or 32 gig SD card. It wasn't one of those fast ones. It was just a generic micro sensor card that they give you when you purchase things from them. They have little offers and they give you a free micro SD card. I popped that micro SD card in this bad boy, and I'm shooting in 4K 60 frames a second because, you know, that's what we want to do. That's what we want to test this bad boy out. And I realized that none of that footage was even usable because the memory card was not fast enough to keep up with the 4K 60 frames a second. So that's why I recommend to get a fast micro SD card that was just designed for high bit rate and high transfer rate, because you need that when you're using this little tiny thing. Another thing I like to talk about is I realize when I'm filming 4K 60 frames a second on this bad boy, and I left it on for a long period of time, to the touch, this thing is burning hot. Almost scared me for a minute because I said, this is not supposed to be that hot. Remember, they pack so much in this tiny little thing that I guess the cooling system in here is not as sufficient as we would want it to be. And remember, this thing is processing 4K at 60 frames a second on this little tiny thing. So I can see why it's getting hot like that. What I did realize is that when I was shooting 1080p at 60 frames a second or 24 frames a second, did not get hot. It stayed kind of warm, but not as hot as it did when I shot 4K 60 frames a second. And when you shoot 4K 60 frames a second, I damn near got an hour and a half with that one battery, whereas I would get 45 to 50 minutes, probably an hour, shooting 4K. So remember that, keep that in mind, that the higher you shoot on this is the less battery you're gonna have and the quicker your memory card is gonna run out. So I just wanna give you that quick tip right there. Now, I realize I have Windows 10, but I realized I have an old Skylake processor, and I had to dig really deep to find out why is it that when I put this footage, 60 frames a second at 4K, I would drag it to my timeline, and I noticed it would play glitchy. I noticed even if I play it in VLC, it will play glitchy. If I put it in Adobe Premiere Pro and I scrub a little bit, Adobe Premiere Pro crashes. And I cannot, even if I put the video on the most lowest resolution just so I can scrub through it, it still crashes the system. And then I did some digging after a few days, and thanks to Bruce and Corey for telling me to as well, is that the codec, you need to have that codec installed to your computer. I got a little frustrated. My friend had the exact same problem. What he did is that he upgraded from Skylake, which I never would have thought. He upgraded from Skylake processor by Intel to Kaby Lake. And once he upgraded his motherboard and he upgraded his processor, that very same footage that he was having errors with, no more errors, no more glitch, no more crashing. The next thing I realized about this GoPro Hero 7 Black is by default, the aspect ratio is set to 4:3. Now, when I first turned it on and I didn't read the manual like a typical person, I was a little upset based off the fact that I thought that I had a broken GoPro, or it was set to a different region, or it just needed a firmware update. So I went there, I turned it on, didn't see any features that will allow me to shoot 4K 60 frames a second or 1080p 240 frames a second, no matter how much of the menu I went through. I discovered that you have to hit on the screen the 4:3 aspect ratio, and then when you hit the 4:3, it will give you the option for the 16:9. What really sold me with this GoPro Hero 7 Black is the fact that I don't need a gimbal to walk around with this. Oh yeah, I took this bad boy outside and I was filming everything. I mean, it is not, to me, it is not a 100% gimbal killer, but it gets the job done and it looks smooth, especially when I'm on the skateboard. No up and down bob, perfect, as long as you hold the camera right. The only thing about it is that when I'm holding it and I'm vlogging like this, I can't see myself. But the dope thing about it is that if you have a nice phone and you have a GoPro app, you can go on Amazon.com and there's an extra case that you can buy for this, that you can actually hot shoe mount something onto the side of the case that will give you a phone clamp, and then now you can turn the phone towards you and now you can vlog. But you can vlog with this. I've seen some microphones that you can buy for this, some really good mics. You can use some current microphones if you have an adapter it's $49, but you can buy an optional adapter from GoPro and you can plug it into the GoPro, and now you can plug in your shotgun microphone or whatever kind of microphone that takes that type of jack. But it's completely waterproof without the casing in it. So imagine the shots you can get. You can just jump straight from the diving board into the pool with the GoPro in your hand with no extra case or anything. So you're good to go. This is my first GoPro. So every day I'm learning something new about this GoPro. I know I can turn vertical so I can do Instagram videos or any video that I need to do vertical. So in conclusion, with this GoPro Hero 7 Black, I'm still learning it. So if you want to find out more information according to the things that I learned about this GoPro, I'm always updating my site. Go to michaelhurdle.com/GoPro. Or if you want to learn more about me, go to michaelhurdle.com and you can find out more information. I'm going to keep playing with this GoPro. I'm going to keep testing the limits on this bad boy and seeing what the maximum amount of quality footage and everything I can get out of this GoPro, and I'd like to keep you guys on that journey with me. So stay tuned. So remember, if you're looking at this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, so as soon as I put a video up, you'll be one of the first ones to get notified. And remember, go to microhurdle.com/GoPro. I update that page regularly, so if I learn something or I take any more pictures or videos, I will put it up there for you. If you have any questions and you need something to be answered and I can answer it for you, send me an email, michael@saltygamers.com, and trust me, I'll try my best to reply to you within 10 to 12 hours because it depends on the time difference. But anyway, my name is Michael Hurdle from the Michael Hurdle Production Studios, rendering your imagination.